I need to man spread a little bit.
Spread.
Spread my balls. There we go. I'm going to the fertility clinic tomorrow. I don't want to crush my balls. Oh, we're live. Okay.
We are live, and I think we are live. And if we are live, I apologize ahead of time for what you just heard from this individual to my right, left.
I really am going to the fertility clinic. I'm getting old. I need to preserve my spermatozoa.
Without getting too much in detail, what does that even mean?
As you age, your sperm ages and becomes of a lower quality. So I need to get a good cup of yogurt and put it in a fridge here in Prague.
So that means if you age and your sperm ages, your sperm comes out to be a 60-year-old man?
That's right.
Okay.
You create Benjamin Buttons. You create little old Brad Pitts. So if I want to have kids in like 4 years' time, they'll come out like little Benjamin Buttons.
Imagine if that was the case. Imagine how much more babies would be made if like the older you get, the older your babies come out.
Yeah, they'll come out looking like me. They'll come out like this, but tiny. Hi.
I actually haven't even seen Benjamin Button.
I don't think I've watched it all. I just really like the disturbing special effects.
Yeah, it's very unsettling, and I think nothing about it when you see the teaser is like, oh, I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, no.
You know, I'm sure it's a good movie though.
I think I watched the last 20 minutes and just spoiled it for myself because I was like, fuck this film, fuck this concept.
Yeah, so speaking of movies, I thought maybe this could be a good topic to start off on. And it's we watched No Country for Old Men, and I know you posted a brief little video kind of talking about that too, but I don't think we really were able to discuss it very much. It was the first time I ever saw it. Without getting too deep into spoilers, it was fucking traumatizing and puts you on edge for 2 hours straight, man.
Yeah, I didn't notice until you said it, there's no incidental music in the film, but I did notice the incidental sounds were dialed right up, so people putting a lighter down is right in your ears, and the dialogue is very, very high. It kind of, the whole 2 hours would be what in another film would probably the director would put you through for about 5 minutes to build the tension before something happens, but it's 2 hours of tension build. It's a great film. It's a really good film, and a very successful adaptation of the book as well, which I highly recommend people read.
Yeah, so I know that if we speak about the details and specifics of this movie, we could easily lose people, because that's what happens when I listen to like people talking about movies, like if I haven't seen it. But let's get into the key core concepts, which was basically no matter what decision you make, karma's going to find you.
Yeah, it's like an exploration of cause and effect and consequence, and really it poses more questions than answers in terms of cause and effect, consequences, the rules that people live by, the nature of having a morality or even a value system at all, because the person with the strongest value system in that movie is the most evil. Strongest in the sense of he adheres to it the most. Our protagonists, the two sort of good guys, as it were, do and do not, depending on how they feel. But what I was saying in the video on my channel is I think it's actually the book and then the film become like a statement about narcissism with a little n, in that when we watch films, we tend to expect everything to work out okay, and the characters that we identify with will win in the end. And that might be dangerous if we keep watching movies like that. We might end up with the worldview that like, what I want to have happen is going to happen, and everything's going to be okay.
Oh, okay. So that's something that I don't think you briefly said after the movie when we watched it.
No.
I think that's a really clever thought. I never thought about that.
Thanks. I was proud of it too.
Yeah, that's really clever, man. So what you're implying is basically if you watch movies where you can directly identify with the hero every time, it can easily distort your worldview to think that you are the best, virtuous, untouchable human being every time. Right,
and that therefore everything will go your way, because when we watch a film, we put ourselves into the protagonist's shoes and everything goes their way. You know, at the end of the movie, they, get the money or get the goal or save the day or whatever it is. And it's actually not that good for you. So there's a kind of right-leaning, politically speaking, rugged individualist, nihilistic, cowboy zen sort of overtones of the movie, where it's actually like, no, not everything's going to go your way. Sometimes bad people do get away with doing things. Sometimes there's no reason for things in life. They just happen.
Yeah, that's the first movie that I've seen in a very, very long time that basically didn't pander to you.
Right.
It was a giant fuck you from reality the whole way through.
Well, I wanted to watch it with you because I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and then I hadn't seen it for a while. I read the book a couple of times, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, was he making a political point with this film? Was it? And then when I watched it with you, I was like, he is, but that's not the main point. The main point is, you know, what's coming for you, nobody can save you from if it's yours. If it's your fate, like Nietzsche would say, amor fati, love your fate, or accept your fate. Nobody's coming to save you is one of the core messages of the movie, and that's a very healthy thing to remember.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like not even you can save yourself. No. And I think that's one of the few movies that kind of depict that, because it's very, very harsh on our human egos.
Yeah.
We're very fragile in terms of what we want to think of ourselves. So that's why we watch the movies where we're portraying ourselves as Black Panther or Spider-Man or Iron Man, because we put ourselves in those shoes. Or on the other hand, on like whatever other movie with whatever protagonist, we always want to be the hero of our own story, which I think we should all strive for. But if we're consistently consuming that narrative in all these different avenues, what happens when the world pandemic hits, man?
Because you'll end up with a worldview that says, you know, if I do good things, according to who, I don't know, you know, where do we get our idea that we're doing good things? If I do good things, everything's going to work out okay. No, not necessarily. The other interesting thing about that film is it's I think, and the book, I think it's a story about storytelling and questioning the way we tell stories. And even though it's got right-leaning values, it actually uses postmodern and deconstructionist means to do that. There's another film he did called The Counselor, and he was actively involved. Cormac McCarthy, the author, was actively involved with the writing of it. It's nowhere near as good. It's called The Counselor. But you see similar themes. You know, the weaponry is a bit weird. A shotgun with a suppressor on it.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen that before. Don't even know if that's a possibility. Somebody will tell me in the comments. The bolt gun he uses.
Oh, the valve thing.
The compressed air for killing cattle.
Yeah.
That's I think that's Cormac McCarthy's, because that is there in the book. That's Cormac McCarthy's sort of like deconstruction of the whole way guns are like magical plot points in films. You know, I point a gun at you and suddenly you do everything I say. Where in real life, it doesn't always work out like that. Or if I shoot you, you fly backwards. Again, in real life, you might not. Depends on the caliber and I think there's a real effort there to sort of deconstruct and say, these magical plot points don't work like this in reality. Sometimes it could be a very random thing that kills you. I mentioned The Counselor for people, maybe watch it as a counterpoint to watching No Country for Old Men. There are also weird weapons in the film. I won't spoil it for you. There's a particularly strange weapon that takes out one of the protagonists, who's like the all-American strong cowboy, like you see Woody Harrelson play. And it's a weapon of inevitability that kind of encircles you, and the circle gets smaller and smaller, and then eventually kills you. And I think that's a bit of an obsession for Cormac McCarthy. The karma, consequence. The weapon itself is you becoming trapped in a situation that gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it cuts you in two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm thinking about now is that there wasn't exactly a reason behind the motives of the characters. You know what I mean? Like, not a cut, clear, concrete, like, I want to do this for this reason.
It wasn't exactly made clear. Did you notice that the reason why the main character, the rugged Vietnam vet, he's very capable, very courageous, the reason why he sparks this chain of events was an act of kindness with the water.
Yeah.
So without plot spoilers, there is an act of kindness that somebody makes at the beginning of this film that ruins his whole life.
I love that.
It's dark. It's really dark.
Yeah, it's fucking bleak as hell. But I think that with her current state of the world and how everything's shifting right now, I think we're all slowly coming to terms with that fact. And a lot of people, including myself, we don't really know where to go about it. And a lot of people are trying to metaphorically give water to the wounded, but it actually ends up destroying everything in its path. So without giving spoilers, too many spoilers, one of the main dudes is just trying to help another guy
who's not a good guy, but he's a criminal.
So a guy trying to help a criminal because of his conscience
value system.
His value system was like, I want to help this wounded person.
Yeah, he's a cartel soldier who's been wounded, and
he's like, let's help him out with the water. Fucks up his whole life. Everybody gets fucked up in one way or another, and that's kind of how things are going now. Everybody is trying to metaphorically find some jug of water to give to some starving, wounded, whoever the fuck, and look what's happening. It's getting crazier and worse. Because we're trying to take action, but with no recourse and no discipline or no discernment on how to go about it.
And that's raised in the film by the antagonist, Anton Chigurh. Everybody who hasn't even seen the film, they will have seen Javier Bardem with this preposterous hair, which actually makes him more terrifying. His hair is so ridiculous.
That's the scariest fucking character I've ever seen in a movie.
Man. And his hair is as outlandish as the weaponry he uses. But he says to another character, again, a cowboy, who's literally dressed as a cowboy, Wells, who is a bagman, he's a hitman, he's in this world, he's capable, he's fast-talking, he's confident. And he says to him, if the rule by which you have lived has brought you to this place, a bad place, of what use was the rule? And you kind of think, Cormac McCarthy knows what he's doing. He must. That's a question to the audience. What rules are you living by? You can live by whatever rules you want, of course, in a free society, but where do they take you? And whose fault is that? And that's, I think, the question 2020 is asking us. It's 2020 is Anton Chigurh sat opposite us with a shotgun with a silencer on it saying, if the rule by which you'd lived had brought you to this place, of what use was the rule?
And then he shoots you in the face.
Yep.
But, it's really dreary, this whole topic and whatever else, but you know what else is dreary? How everything ended up in the last year or so. And I think to tie this into what's happening, I feel like the mode of action and reaction to how to try to operate in the world and try to deal with it by taking action or doing a fucking hashtag or whatever the hell else is the result of a lot of, not directly, but metaphorically, a lot of movies and implementing that subconscious idea that you are the hero to your own movie, that you're going to save the rest of the world, and you know exactly what's right, and by you taking the action to do this, everything's going to be perfectly fine. It imposes this weird subconscious belief that you are the savior, and by you taking action, the only good can come out of that. And there's very rarely other movies that explore in depth the actions of your good intentions.
Yeah, and that's a good point to tag on to that. When I'm talking about narcissism here, I'm saying in the classic psychiatric sense of grandiose classic narcissism, and the particular point of narcissistic bubble that's being popped is grandiosity, the idea that you're the center of your own world. And that's even explored at one point in the movie where Tommy Lee Jones, the old sheriff, says, I had dreams. His wife says, tell me what they are. And he says, he has this weird Texan way of saying it, dreams are only interesting to the person who dreamed them. And she said, I'll be polite. And then he tells the dreams. But that alone is a really profound statement and a challenge to the audience. Your dreams, my dreams, they're relevant to you. They're relevant to me. We shouldn't expect other people. We shouldn't demand other people care what our dreams are. They might. And we should be grateful and gracious if they are, and if they're polite enough to sit and listen to the drivel of, flying around the universe on a toilet seat or whatever your dream was. But we shouldn't expect that.
Yeah, it's one thing to appreciate it when it's around, but it's another to expect for everyone to fully support or be a part of whatever your crazy idea might be.
So that level of grandiosity and narcissism I would say we're seeing writ large in our response to the challenges we face this year. And obviously it's a challenge in and of itself, but then it's almost like you said towards the beginning, it's almost like the things we do to make it better are actually making it fucking worse. The cure is worse than the disease itself in many cases.
Yeah, and just like the movie, every further action to try to make things better digs the deepest hole. And yeah, that's kind of what's happening right now. I feel like the world at the moment is playing out the very similar narrative. Everyone's killing the next person to try to make a better choice to save this and save this.
Yes. So again, it's explored a little more in the film The Counselor. I'm not recommending the film The Counselor. It's actually more disturbing. If you're not feeling too good, don't watch it. It's a very disturbing film. But has a good cast, and the story is very interesting, but it goes even deeper into that, where the protagonist in that film, every move he makes to try and dig himself out of this hole, he also gets in trouble with the Mexican cartel. He just slips deeper and deeper and deeper in. And it's horrifying to watch, like a rabbit in a trap. The more they pull, the more it cuts into the trap leg. And it's brutal. It's not a film that lets up. It's not a film that gives the audience like a little out. You just have to sit there and tolerate it.
Which makes me think, do you think it's better? Is it more beneficial for somebody to is it more beneficial for somebody to maintain this idea of they're the main character and hope and idealism, or to expose themselves to the idea of karmic reactions in the worst possible way? What is more beneficial? Because some people might say by just this discussion inherently is making them feel really fucking awful and they just don't want to even deal with it and bother it. Is the pain of that worse than just like prolonging with the idealism, or like should people just know from the get-go like any action you take might actually end up the opposite?
Well, my first response to that is absolutely better. And if we want to be adults and we want to grow up, we have to. It's completely infantile to try and live in a fantasy world. But that statement may be too harsh. So I could reframe it as a question and say, if you were in the Matrix, would you take the red or the blue pill? And is it better to know the horror of the reality you're in, or is it better to just sleep and believe that you're in this dreamland where everything is okay? I'll always choose the red pill on anything and everything, because I think that's where freedom is, and that's where my highest value lies, is in freedom. So when I get scared on flights, and I've spoken to other people who are, I don't so much anymore, but I've spoken to other people who are phobic, and one of the things they try and do is pretend they're on a train, and I'm like, but I'm not on a train. I can't do that. So rather than disassociate and pretend I'm not on a flight, when I get scared, I look out the window. I look at the wings. I look at the pilots. I'm like, this is where I am and this is what's happening. I find it's a harder route, but I find more comfort in that. I find more comfort in knowing everything rather than trying to hide, because I don't know the size or the shape or the number of the monsters pursuing me if I'm hiding. I'd rather know.
Interesting. Now, I'm kind of diverting this a little bit, but it still has to do with it. And it has to do with a very, not very personal, but a semi-superficial personal occurrence. And I think you already know I'm going to bring up. It has to do with my fucking hair. And the reason why I'm going to bring this up is because the truth that I gained from this is technically a red pill for almost like a blue pill truth.
Right.
So I would like to ask you what you think, if this is ultimate truth, or is the delusion overpowering the truth? Which is, let me explain now. I took off the braids in my hair because I need my scalp to rest, and I need to get a haircut because I want to take off the soles of past flips that are ingrained in the protein strands out of my scalp. And so I got the most amount
of... You might need your skull scrubbing clean.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking dishwasher soap with nails. And I posted a fucking 5-second story of me just posing to the camera, just kind of like tongue-in-cheek, like ironically, just looking like, yeah. And the shit got shared 400 times, replied to 400 times. And I, on average, get maybe 6 replies and 3 shares on an Instagram story. On average, I get 4,000 views on an Instagram story. This has 14,000. Out of all of the effort, work, time, and money I've spent on every other piece of content with research, video editing, all this other shit, all I had to do was just take off the braids and look at the camera like this for 4 seconds. And at the same time, I do appreciate the compliments, most definitely. But I got red-pilled so fucking hard after that, being like, this is the truth and the fucking reality here, that after all of that, I just had to do that. And that's the secret to success? Is that what you would consider a red pill moment?
Yeah, it is. It's actually pretty profound because the existential crisis that could spiral you into is nobody's really listening to what I'm saying. All my psychology and philosophy is meaningless.
Dude, I don't have to fucking study or think about shit.
Just say whatever you want. They're only thinking about fucking your face while you're talking anyway.
You're holding my hair down. You know what I mean? Just tying it to the bedpost. Just like, but like, I thought I was reaching truth because I was. So this is the paradox of the pretty hair on the fuck boy. The paradox of the pretty boy. That's what I'm calling this fucking theory.
You have pretty boy problems the way that girls have pretty girl problems.
I got the fucking most privileged rock star problems in the world, but I still
this caviar is salty.
I still have the right to complain because the world isn't utter shit just yet. But so in my head, I'm thinking that I am actually red-pilled and I know truth because I'm spending so much time thinking about the actual nature of society and the reality. Turns out I didn't know shit because most people would rather see my hair fall down like Fabio or Pete Burns than fucking any philosophical idea that I put out there. Anything that I say about existentialism, they want to make a tutorial instead. You know, and I'm red pilling myself now, and maybe that's the actual reality that we live in, not this other fucking who the humble jumbo.
Pete Burns went to school with my uncle. He's from Bebington, which is the village that I grew up in.
Tell him I said hi and I understand.
I think as well, you what you're also touching on is the power of spectacle, which is spectacle in this day and age really trumps everything. And I wonder with some of the content I produce, like, you know, people keep up with me, they're trying to get through it and everything, but really if it doesn't give you a good feeling inside of 5 seconds, you're never going to be massively popular. You're just not. You're not going to make it, kid. Just be beautiful, sing a song, make them feel good.
Yeah, and I trust me, there is a deeper underlying philosophical premise here. Not like anyone gives a fuck, anyways.
No, say whatever you want.
Maybe if I do this in between.
Yeah, they're laughing and they're agreeing with you, and meanwhile they're just thinking about fucking your face.
There is an underlying philosophy behind this, and it's the fact that is that real? Would you consider that reality if the true value is placed on something like fucking natural hair and makeup tutorials? If that is. Does that make that the reality if that's the actual overt reaction to things?
That's one of Zizek's points with the group of speeches, babblings, that he did over the reality of the virtual and the way that the virtual world now probably has more gravity and more meaning than the real world. So, yeah, it's reality. It's a reality. It's an important, significant reality for sure. Sorry.
This Scorpio season out almost in Halloween is showing me the reality behind the veil, and it turns out that I am better just as a mannequin for wigs. Am I just a weave to y'all?
And if you are, should you accept it? Should you love your fate, like Nietzsche said, and just maybe be happier, if you're more content? You just say, fuck it then. This is my job. I'm here to be pretty, and that's it.
And honestly, I'm already leaning towards that. Because it's like, okay, any action to fight towards the bigger fight, you know, try to fight against the regime is fucking, who cares? Just bite my fucking lip, rub my six-pack for no reason, call it a night. Like, what the fuck was world, dude?
I think just because the hair down picture is more impactful generally in the world of social media, you shouldn't stop trying to, because even if we're talking to probably consistently like 250 people here, maybe 350, but if it was 50 or if it was 25, it's still worth something. It's still worth the conversation, but it's not the mainstream. I think what it demonstrates is just how powerful spectacle is now, just how powerful image is, which has been one of the great lessons I've learned through working with you over the last year. Is it's a recurrent theme that you know you've overtly taught me, is like image really fucking counts. It means a hell of a lot.
And it's funny because I tell you that all the time, but I try to convince myself the opposite to myself all the time. I'm like, maybe it's more than image. I'll do something else past that.
Is this some weird Aquarius thing where you start a fight with your own self?
Yes, because I'm not in a relationship, so I have to.
You set yourself up.
Who else am I going to argue with? I would rather disappoint myself than another potential relationship partner at this point. At least I can control the debate in my head.
That's nobody's feel guilty about then either, is there?
Yeah.
It's only
just torture myself instead.
Yeah. No, it is indicative of something. And there is a red pill moment to be had there, which is, you know, a lot of the things that we think count and that we think are making a difference in the world, many of them perhaps really aren't. And the content that you're putting out might not be being enjoyed. I mean, but I've known that since day one. Like, I've never been confused about that.
You'll see me try to slip in some philosophical concept in a drama video and be like, Pierre, just bite your lip, dude. Just fucking wear your hair down, bite your lip.
Battered cynic. I'm a battered old cynic. So no, I know. Like, there's always going to be an element of that. But I do think there is the possibility of, you know, pulling people in with image and illusion and prettiness and lust, and then opening a doorway to a conversation where you say something that really will carry with people, and they'll carry that forward with them, and you probably will never know what it was. It could be some random, or it might just be a way of being, or it might be the fact that you are questioning. Think about some of the younger people who follow you. The fact that you can just go, here's an idea. Here's the idea itself. Here's its antithesis. And rather than just ranting in a polarized way, you're going, how do these two ideas match and balance?
But really, they're just like, how do you do that smoky eye like that?
How do you do the smoky eyes, Pierre?
It's like, I really like the video, but I was wondering if maybe you could put out Make with the Sword. Okay, because fuck it. If there's a platform to get philosophical, even though no one gives a fuck, this is the platform for it. So my thing is, like, on paper, you think that being red pill is like looking past superficiality, right? Like, maybe there is a reality beneath just how I look and behave. Yeah. But actually, when you red pill that, it's about knowing that is the ultimate reality. Yeah. There is actually nothing under that. If the general consensus is focused.
What are you gonna do? Beat the crowd? How are you gonna? You can't swim upstream, man. That's like a recipe for exhaustion. You do what you can. That's my attitude to it. Is you just do what you can. Do what you can. As far as you can.
So are you gonna do a hair down Instagram story too?
Ahead.
Are you gonna do it?
I will.
Yo, I will. You should do it as a test. Yo, literally, I'm so frustrated over compliments. I'm so bored under lockdown. I'm mad for compliments. People are going to be like, Pierre, anyway, so I literally was just like, oh, let's do this 7 seconds. Mm-hmm. More engagement on that 7-second video than anything I've posted in the last year.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody got questions for us?
Nick Bravo says Richard is preying on Pierre. He's also said I'm colonializing you.
What does that even mean, dude?
Are you saying that because I'm white?
Yeah.
Racist.
Ooh, we just went there. Anybody got a little bit of chat thing? I should pull it up. I gotta pull it up separately here. Go ahead and go on a monologue in the meantime, please.
Who? Me?
Yes, you. While I pull this chat log up.
Okay, give us a question, guys. Let's go. Hit me with something. Richard has a natural weave. Wowie. Alexandra says, Daddy, chill. How does your hair look down, Richard? I look very German. It goes. It's a lot blonder when it's down. I look very German and not in a way that would be popular in the current climate.
No.
Especially if I've shaved the sides. It's if you don't do that hairstyle. What's Richard's sun sign? What's a sun sign?
Your main sign.
Oh, Pisces.
Pisces. Pisses.
What's a moon sign? How would I know what the fuck a moon sign is?
You got to do a moon sign calculator.
Oh, I have no idea.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I think you did it at one point, but who
Yeah, I
knows?
forgot.
You forget. All right, let's see. See what else is here. Are you guys getting disillusioned with your platform audience now? You're not?
No. I think my platform is improving. I'm actually really happy with the last few videos I posted have been a little bit more challenging, a little bit harder, and the response has been awesome. Like,
really?
Yeah, I released one that got triple the normal number of views in a period of time, and it was it's not a placatory video. It's very challenging, so I'm very happy with my platform at the moment.
Well, that must be nice.
Martin asked, do you like the Beatles of Liverpool, Richard? There's only one Beatles, and they are the Liverpool Beatles. Not particularly. I quite like the song Nowhere Man, but I think I've always resisted it because of being from there. It's not. I prefer the Stones to the Beatles.
You didn't let me answer that question from the first time. I am getting disillusioned. The second channel, not so much. I like everybody on the second channel. They're great. The fucking main channel audience, dude. Don't get that chocolate protein spurted on your hoodie. I swear to God, man. As right when this pandemic hit, I was like, dude, I had hope. I had hope for everybody, and then the pandemic hit. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Are these the same people? It's like, it's literally simultaneous MAGA 2020 BLM in the same comment section. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be the fucking jester of the center. And then it's like the most polarized shit I've ever seen in my life, man.
I don't have to scroll through comments like that, and I'm very, very glad that I don't, because I also would find that. I'd find that quite upsetting. I think...
Dude, imagine you just spent the last fucking 2 years trying to fight against polarization. That's all you see in your comments. And then on top of that, you realize that your hair is more important.
Yes. I would definitely change the content somehow so that you don't have to wade through that stuff, because I know I wouldn't deal very well with that at all, because you're seeing the worst elements of humanity all the time, and it can be, if not traumatizing, you know, it's disillusioning. That's why you're disillusioned, because it is disillusioning to watch stupidity and cruelty and immaturity combined with resentment in action.
Yes, and the biggest problem is that I care.
Yes.
And see, if I didn't care, I wouldn't mind, but I care, so I'm like, oh my God. I'm the referee, Romeo. Referee of the new world. What about crypto world peace concepts with the police body cams?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. It sounds badass, though. It sounds fucking sick. I think it's sick, bruh. I put on a few stones. And I'm gaining weight, too. Look at that.
God damn it.
Just lay it on me.
God damn it. I saw Zachariah Adil is here. Hello, Zachariah. Everybody should check out Zachariah Adil's channel and check out my interview with Zachariah, where I get into the jinn and my experience in Malaysia of being spiritually awokened by the Sufi master.
Okay. It's because I'm getting swole, guys. I got compliments the other day. Arms are double the size.
Yep.
For no reason.
Yep. Pierre's making gains, baby.
Just literally just being around you. That's it.
Yep.
I didn't work out at all.
Just you lay on the mat that I sweated on, and it went in through your skin. There's so much testosterone, it swells you up.
Exactly. What is it? Swole contagion?
Yeah, swoltagion.
Swoltagion, dude.
Bruh.
Do you see anything?
My eyes are not that good. here because respect Richard and his hard work. He shares for free. Thanks, Shalom. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's a very nice compliment.
Pierre,
Shalom.
like your youthful energy, intelligence, and very interesting thoughts about
Thank
our
you.
world. Thank you.
Very sweet.
Shalom, shalom.
How to attract like-minded people and just not be seen as a beautiful object. Just embrace that only people want you for your hair. That's it.
So it sounded like a dating question. I cannot help. I'm sorry.
Do you think the internet is the cause for society's downfall, as if internet trolls have become human and are mucking up the place?
No, I think that there is a fault in human nature, and people have been saying that since the Buddhists and the Gnostics. There's something a little up with us, and if it wasn't that, it would be something else. We can't stand for it to be too good for too long, it seems.
I love the internet. Internet's my favorite. I love it. How do I make it rain?
On these hoes.
Get them sticks, throw it up. Get them sticks.
Or are you asking for some sort of Native American ritual? I don't know. I can tell you which one is easier.
Do you think artificial intelligence could help in becoming better humans? I would say yes, because that's at least the last thing I could place my hopeful fantasies on. We're fucking up so much. I was like, might as well just double down on the AI, and if it fucks up, then everything was already gonna fuck up anyways. Might as well see if the AI will help us. I'll have a digital girlfriend like her, and just self-flip to death while she whispers in my ear.
The potential is there to make us better, but we have all kinds of tools that are there that have the potential to make us better. Most likely, AI will predominantly be used to make masturbation more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah, man. What else do we have to lose? I'll be your digital girlfriend. I'm everyone's digital boyfriend already. Please argue with me if you need to. Are you a transhumanist? Bruh, might as well. What other human qualities should we hold on to that we need to keep so purely sacred? What, Richard? What other human qualities would just be so sacred for us to hold on to?
That's a good question. Human qualities that are sacred.
If I can shoot laser beams out of my eyeballs, so what if I can feel emotion, dude? Like, amazing.
Somebody asked when the book is coming out. I actually, I just started today doing a retraining and a reconceptualizing of the book. There's been other things. I'm sure everybody's plans have been up in the air. So I'm hoping that will be done by Christmas and then be out maybe late February, early March.
Everyone's like empathy.
Empathy.
It hasn't helped me very much.
I don't hold much faith in using human values that are sacred. I would say we'd probably be better focusing on the sacred and let human values raise to the top by focusing on the sacred. That would be a good alchemical process.
Do you think it'd benefit kids to be taught meditation at school and teach them digitally detox?
100%.
Yeah, most definitely. This is for somebody that doesn't meditate and doesn't get off the internet. And I would say yes, it's much better for kids not to do it or to do it. Bless you.
Excuse me.
I heard that
God,
detail. I got the headphones in.
That was depth.
Little throat squirt.
Sorry about that.
Throat squirt.
Throat squirt.
Throat squirt. Do you think there was a concentrated effort to promote toxic parenting techniques under grandparents and parents' generations in order to produce generations of codependent, narc, big kids, not adults?
An overarching conspiracy. It's possible. It's possible, but even if it were the case, I think that there are extraneous factors that mean that it just spontaneously occurred.
Yeah, I just don't think they even knew what they were doing to a certain extent. Just like try to survive, get the resources, give it to the kid in a water bowl under the crack of the door. Have fun.
Under the crack of the door.
Just here, drink up. When is Richard going to feature on a Pierre XO song? You going to rap? A little Clint?
Yes, probably something. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just say a word over and I'll appear. Do you remember when William S. Burroughs teamed up with Nirvana? I'll do something like that. I think it was on the Heart Shaped Box album.
We do like an opening monologue and then it breaks into dong dong dong
Yeah.
dong 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 dong. Or dude, what if one day, there's a bunch of like these they're not obnoxious, sorry, amazing, beautiful works of psytrance that have Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna talking over it.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be you one day, dude.
Yeah, that'll be me.
Everyone's gonna sample you have so much content to sample from.
Yeah, I'd have to be old for that to be a thing, but yes, one day I'm sure. Somebody has done psytrance with me.
There you go,
dude.
dude.
That's the thing. It's out there on Instagram somewhere. I've seen it.
There you go. That's how these characters got big, I'm sure, too. Any content planned for 2021?
From Tentacle Quest on, yeah, we'll still be here. We'll still be talking about the things that are happening as the world disintegrates around us.
How are you dealing with all this, dude?
A sense of humor, openness.
Have you already just gone through the phases of grieving so many times before that this doesn't even bother you?
It's definitely bothered me at points during the year, and you saw me in the beginning of the pandemic, and then I think 3 months in, I was quite fearful. I mean, I was talking like full-blown communist takeover, money being devalued, and all the rest of it. Today I spent maybe an hour and a half actually looking at more of the science and the statistics for all this stuff, and there's only so long they're going to be able to keep a lid on it. And I'm talking like from the WHO. I was on the World Health Organization website. You should read some of the stats on there. If you're interested, case fatality rates and actual mortality rates and how to calculate them from the WHO website itself. Fascinating reading. It's,
Which makes perfect sense on why there is a 9 o'clock curfew as of 2 days ago in Prague.
In Czech Republic.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
9 o'clock curfew for what? It's not like people are leaving their house in the first place. That spooked me out, dude. When I read that, I was like, okay, this is another thing because there's no reason. There is no reason why you should also impose 9 o'clock curfew with all the other restrictions already. It makes no sense.
I heard a professor, I'm afraid I can't remember his name, talk from the University College of London talking today when I was doing this little bit of research for an hour and a half. And he had to say the words out loud, when you do more testing, you get more cases, because apparently the world doesn't know that, neither do the politicians.
What does the world know, Richard?
I don't know what the world knows, Pierre. I don't know it all.
Literally, I remember you asking me, and I feel fucking terrible for it. You've asked me this 3 times, really casually. You don't think Czech's gonna go under a lockdown, do you? You don't think it's gonna go under a hard lockdown? I was like, no, dude. It's fine. I'm on my unicycle. I'm rolling through the streets. My second channel's blowing up. It's great. It's fucking worst cases in all the world. Like, the restrictions are increasing daily, dude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Very, very strong lockdown here. Not quite as bad as the UK's communist regime in the first 2 months. But it's bad at the moment. It's very, very tight. Oh, I trained outside today. There's a place in Prague where you're allowed to train outside. You train in a mask. There's a gym. And it was you can book and only 6 people are allowed to train in this area. And I went there and it's in some backyard, scrapyard, somewhere in the back end of Prague, and it started to rain. And I'm like, this is the most fucking miserable gym experience of my whole life ever. Hated it. Was not happy.
It gets worse and worse, and it's so funny. You're like, I can't wait to go train.
It's crazy.
You went outside. You went to the gym after registering for a limit of 6 people. You couldn't breathe under your mask. It starts raining on you.
Fucking raining. Just miserable grey day, pissing with rain as I'm changing the weights on a machine that I don't really want to use anymore. That's my church. They broke my church. These fuckers. They will never be forgiven for what they did to my church. Bastards. Bastards.
Dude.
You know, in the movie where there's the moment where something terrible happens to the protagonist. I watched Free State of Jones last night. Matthew McConaughey's the hero. Something terrible happens. He's like, well, I'm not taking that anymore. That was my moment. They hurt my gym. Bastards.
They've hurt everything we've cared about.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I'm seriously getting fucking punted. I'm growing nuts and getting each one punted. Like, I got a mutation from the radiation from 5G, and every nut that grows.
They're only allowing you to grow balls so they can kick them back up into your pelvis again.
Yo, it's literally like every single thing that I thought I cared about is like being exposed to like, no, it's not like that, man.
I highly recommend the film The Free State of Jones with Matthew McConaughey. It's a very interesting piece of American history. True story.
You guys have any other questions, dog? Dog, you got any questions?
Wowie. I will be going to America soon if God is merciful. I will be going to your hood.
But you have to fly to like 30 other places, right?
I have to cleanse my EU Schengen area plague filth in the Caribbean, which is a wonderful middle class problem to have. I have to go to the Caribbean for 2 weeks, bastards, before I can go and see my sister in America. So if you're near California, we'll be doing some seminars there, if it's permitted, after the election results and the riots, etc. November 3rd, it's not long.
Do you ever just lay in bed and look at the ceiling and be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening, dude?
Gypsy Girl says, what part of the Caribbean? The easiest place in the Caribbean to get into without testing and everything else, because it's part of the nature of the country, is the Dominican. So I could go to the Dominican for 2 weeks, get some bachata training.
Do you think things are actually going to bounce back?
I wouldn't use the word bounce in this context. Bounce, I don't think it's going to do. That was the original prediction, that we would see a V-shaped recession where we'd go deep and dark and then straight back out. And we were already scheduled to be coming back out. It won't bounce, but what you will see now is a broad-scale civil unrest across all of Europe and then the world. Because if you do this to people, people eventually get ticked off and start pushing back the other way. I'm sure there's a prediction I would make is you'll see police rebellion. You'll see police refusing to enforce some of the rules.
Hey, let's dive down this black hole because we
we're in it.
Yeah, we
Well.
skirt over this like conspiratorial agenda shit, and it's been a while since we talked about it. So, you think that the police are going to rebel and join the people to fight the state?
I don't know about fighting the state, but I know from Liverpool, because I have police in my family, that they were not happy. Well, they're gym goers. I mean, if you go to like the supplement stores here in Prague, I think 100% of the time that I've been to a supplement store to buy like protein or ZMAs or whatever, nearly 100% of the time, police walk in. But they're not walking in to check the store. They're just walking in to buy gear. Not steroids. They're walking to buy legal things because the police use the gyms. So I got feedback about the Liverpool lockdown, because Liverpool's in a tier 3, that they were not happy that they were being asked to enforce with force and with fines the shutting down of the gyms, because they don't see a justification for it. There is no data that supports doing that. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, every month there is a new country bordering the Czech Republic. I get flooded with DMs with other protests that are happening in Belarus to Serbia. Now it's Poland with the abortion law. It's all coming around. We had the first violent fucking protest out in Prague for the first time in decades, I think. I think this is going to just fucking swarm the rest of it?
Yeah, it has to. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at the Rockefeller Institute's prediction of the way the world could go in the future, there were 4 scenarios offered, and one of them is called lockstep. You can just look up through Google Rockefeller lockstep. And lockstep predicts a pandemic and predicts a lockdown scenario that will be lockstep across the world, when you have pressure coming down from the top, over a period of time, eventually the pressure bounces back from the bottom because, well, we won't have anything left to lose. I mean, you know, what are they going to take from us next here in the Czech Republic? You make it's a fucking short list. Like, there isn't really much else you can take. And unless they say we'll stay in your houses all day, or, you know, lie down on the living room floor, face down, not speaking to each other. Perhaps that'll be the new thing. So yeah, eventually there has to be pushback. There definitely will be pushback.
Do you have a limit of how bad things can get before you're like, fuck this, and you do something, or you just like, what are your?
I'm not really big on riots and demonstrations and everything. I don't know. What's my limit before I would start? I just don't know that it's useful. I don't know that it's particularly smart. I think it's a really quick way to get yourself on somebody's hot list.
Yeah, same.
So,
same.
Especially we are foreigners here, and if we started posting rude things about Babish, we would probably just find ourselves being kicked out of the country and not permitted to re-enter whilst he's in power. So, my
limit is when things get pushed that much. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to attempt to hack one of the LCD screens on Wenceslas Square of my 7-second video of me twirling my hair around.
Right.
And hopefully by then the masses of Prague would be like, they start like slow clapping, and everyone stands up and they take off their masks simultaneously.
Yeah.
And they're like, Děkuji, thank you.
Thank you savior of the Czech people.
Yeah, because apparently that's the most democratic thing I've ever done.
Well, it will be like the end of the Joker movie in reverse. Instead of you getting everybody to put masks on, everybody will take masks off. Yeah,
because from all the things that I've attempted, this is the one that gets everybody in the same page.
I hope they slow clap to Future Mask Off. That would be beautiful. And they're just looking at you in slow motion with your hair billowing.
Yeah, and then the little flute comes in.
Yeah.
Fucking mask off. And everybody flash mobs.
Like, and they throw their masks away.
Into Old Town Square.
And the police join them. They throw their masks off.
Yeah. And
everybody's mask off.
I opened the chest at Old Town Square because the LCD projection is not actually me. So then when everyone goes in Old Town Square, I put the crown on my head.
Yep.
And then I'm on the balcony of the churches.
Yep.
Fucking mask off. And then the COVID just disappears, man.
You'll be the new emperor of Europe.
I think that's a pretty good plan.
United States of Europe.
That's a pretty good strategy, man.
Can I be the Goebbels to your Hitler? No, I'll be the assistant to your takeover. Peaceful takeover.
No, you can deal with the other hemisphere. You know what I mean?
What, the America?
Yeah.
Oh, the American takes Europe. And the European takes, I see.
Think about how many English talk show hosts just randomly started appearing in America.
I know, they fucking love English people.
There you go, dude.
They love English people.
You already got that hemisphere. Yeah. I'll get your fucking mask off, you know?
And I'll go over and say, hello, everybody. We're going to start doing things differently around here. Pip, pip.
And because you have the accent, it's authority.
Yes, absolutely.
It's trustworthy.
I'll shave everything off except for a little pencil-thin mustache that I have.
Yeah, then you'll have your own talk show host.
Yeah, they'll call me English Zorro.
English Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have any other questions? I'm running dry. Why do so many of the ones screaming for change continue to vote for the same people that they have for decades?
Mask off.
Fucking mask off.
Fucking mask off. What's his line in the beginning? Is he singing Molly Percocet?
Molly Percocet, yeah.
He doesn't pronounce his words very well. It's hard for me to hear.
He's on Molly Percocet.
Well, he could still bloody well say Molly Percocet, Molly Percocet.
I can see you busting into the studio with Future and the Migos. And you'd be like, excuse me.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Enunciate more.
Enunciate. Nobody can hear a damn thing.
Can you say Molly Percocet in the accent?
I can't. I tried in the shower several times.
Molly Percocet.
Molly Percocet.
Mask off.
Take your mask off. Molly Percocet. Damn your eyes, sir. Get that mask off you.
Hey, anything's possible in 2020, man. And I think this is a great strategy to come from here because, like, what else? Like, what else? You guys got any other fucking solutions? You gonna vote all over the world right now, or what?
Am I voting?
Yeah, on every election in the world.
No, there'll be no votes from me, darling.
How irresponsible! You're part of the problem.
Indeed, and proudly.
Imagine voting in like. I can't. Never mind.
Go on, go on. Keep a straight face. Pinch yourself on the leg. Give yourself pain. That's what I do. Not even to keep a straight face, just to get out of bed in the morning.
Imagine voting and not thinking you're not part of the problem.
Nice. I liked that. I liked it a lot. Imagine voting and thinking you're not part of the problem. Very good. Very good. Enjoyable. That was actually a joke. That was a proper joke from Tentacle Quest on, I think, for the first time. Well done. That's from Pierre's latest stand-up special on Netflix.
If there's anything I'm getting out of this, I'm gonna be a stand-up idiot bombing with an audience of no one because we can't meet.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes.
at least I'm getting something out of this. I think I've gotten like slightly funnier, but it doesn't matter because I just have to rub my hair around anyways.
Yes.
I don't have to say anything.
I'd love to see you do a creepy Joker-style stand-up set. You know, when he's being very strange
Just
and sort
awkward
of
and
awkward.
Andy Kaufman type.
Yeah,
shit. I would
yeah.
love to go about it like that.
That would be beautiful. Beautiful piece of work. I am more interested in politics for sure these days, but I don't know, with the background in narcissistic abuse and trying to help people overcome narcissistic abuse, I'm very sensitive to the moment. There's a couple of moments with a narcissistic abuser. One is induced conversation, where you're forced into a conversation you don't want to have, and the other is questions that entrap you. And there's something with humans where you ask the question, you feel like you want to answer it. So if somebody says to me red or blue, I'll be like, are those my only options, fuckface? You know, there's a sort of a forced consent there and the illusion of some kind of freedom. Like, I don't know who red is. I don't know who blue is. I don't have a say in their specific policies. I'm supposed to just generally squirt my values in a certain direction. No, I don't consent to that. Fuck off.
Yes. Why is everyone so negative? I keep seeing people say we are doomed. Isn't that feeding negativity by
We're not
voicing
doomed.
anger, frustration rather than love?
We're not doomed. We're absolutely not doomed.
Really? Why?
Because I think what it is, I was. Let me tell you a story. I was once driving to Spain. I've lived in Spain a number of times, and what I like to do is drive a car down there. It's a 24-hour drive. When I was younger, about your age, I did it in 24 hours, and I was drinking Red Bull to get through the 24-hour drive. It's a fucking nightmare driving from England to the southern coast of Spain. And there's a point where you drive down from England to the southern coast of Spain and you come over the mountains and you can usually see Africa quite clearly. You can see the north coast of Africa. And it had gotten to 7 o'clock in the morning and the sun wasn't up yet. And I thought it should be. Driving through the darkness, being confused and tired and not knowing when the sun was going to come up really fucking freaked me out. Terrified me at the level that I've only ever experienced on a bad acid trip before, because I lost my coordinates. I was like, how can it be 7 o'clock and no sun and no sign of sun? It wasn't like the sky wasn't glowing orange. There was nothing there. And it really freaked me out. And I think that's where we are. We're driving and we can't even see orange or pink on the horizon. We're just looking at black, black, black. And it is frightening, but it won't last.
That's a good way to look at it, sort of. I mean, I think a lot of people have dreams where you just fall into a void. Those are terrifying because you have no reference.
Yeah.
I was watching horror video games earlier, as I was telling you, to play for Halloween. And the scariest trailer that I watched was Silent Hill playable teaser.
Right.
And I didn't even see a fucking monster.
Right.
But it's literally just 2 hallways.
Yeah.
And the door at the end of the hallway leads exactly back
Right.
to the beginning of the hallway.
Right.
And you pass by this shit 7, 8, 10 times. And I had to quit watching that.
Yeah.
4 minutes in.
It's disturbing.
It's so scary. And you turn the corner and you're always expecting the damn ghoul to just pop out of the drawer. And it never happens.
Right.
but I couldn't physically watch that for any longer because of that.
Well, that was one of the points that you made when we were being aliens manifested in flesh suits, which is these are mind ghosts. They're not actual tigers, and so they never. The best way to torture somebody is to never have the terrible thing manifest. It should always be just around the corner because it's exhausting. People are tired. They're really tired, and there's no light. There's no hope. It seems to be. And what you just described reminded me of that found footage horror film that was big when I was a kid. What's the thing where the American kids are lost in the forest? It did really well.
Blair Witch?
Blair Witch. And they walk, and then they come back to the cabin they started at. And it's one of the worst moments of the film. And there's no horror element. There's nothing that has happened to people. They're just lost in the American wilderness, saying, well, we couldn't die, we're still in America. Oh, yes, you can. There's an awful lot of fucking space out there. There's an awful lot of, what are they called, national parks. It's huge. Millions and millions of square miles of national parks across America. And that's terrifying, not even with the witch, not even with the monster, just that you keep going until what? You can't see above the canopy. It's dark under the canopy of the forest. It's dark. There's no coordinates.
Yeah, that's more terrifying than actually seeing the monster. Because if I saw the monster in the hallway, at least I'd have the payoff of it.
There's a film, I can't remember its name. Somebody will know. The main monster is an evil old nun. And the whole film is utterly terrifying when you can only see like her fingertip or her foot or she's in shadow. When they show her, the film becomes utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just not... It's not frightening. All you're doing, we all do it now because we're so used to horror movies, is you're analysing the makeup, you're analysing the special effects, you're looking at the choices they've made for the reveal, and you're just like, oh, this is shit now. She just looks like...
The nun.
A nun. A shit old nun.
Yeah.
But when she's a something that you can't quite see, that's terrifying. So we're in the something we can't quite see phase.
Yeah, what you're saying about when you were bringing up the spaciousness of America and the wilderness, the actual cities are built like that. And I remember, like, I think everybody can relate to this experience when you were at a supermarket because your mom brought you in because she can't leave you in the car with the windows up and have you overheat. You know, she brings you in and then you get lost while she's looking for cereal. And then you have that terrifying moment when you're 4 years old walking around like, Mom, where are you? And dude, I remember that shit. It's terrifying because all the aisles look the exact same. And it's huge. You never know where the door is.
So the fear here is... I mean, originally, I'm sure it was for a virus that people thought was very dangerous and very contagious. But I think now the fear has shifted to the unknown. It's like our coordinates are melting. When's the darkness going to end? Even if they said, you know, it's going to be another 18 months, but here are the steps month by month by which we will slowly walk back up to the light out of the Minotaur's maze, people's mental state would be better. We need a direction. We need light. We need a North Star to face. And at the moment, we don't really have one. So sometimes, like for me, I just think I'll just make one up.
Yeah. Okay.
It's better than nothing.
So then that's the blue pill voluntarily?
Kind of. The blue pill voluntarily is that I'm living in a reality where this is going to get better because I choose that it's going to get better. My decisions are based on the idea that it will improve. Is that North Star that you're imagining me rubbing my hair around? Oh, I cannot wait for the moment of the grand apocalypse of Pierre rubbing his hair around.
Yeah, man. Cities in America, they're laid out like grocery stores. Just the same aisles for blocks, miles and miles. Mm-hmm. And there's no landmark to actually like fathom where you are. Mm-hmm. It's just the same repeating fucking McDonald's, Starbucks, and strip mall.
Yeah.
That freaked me out. I think that's why I was freaking out there so much. It just feels like you're endlessly in this. Yeah, no, there's a lot of void. I think we've spoken about this a lot on this channel. Like neither of us particularly like the aesthetic there, and we both find it quite creepy and inhuman. And I don't know. It's not. It's a place that's completely devoid of charm in the cities. I mean the nature is beautiful, but the cities themselves are just charmless places, utterly charmless. Is there hope for beauty to transpire in these times?
For sure. Of course. There's always hope, Frodo.
Is there anything else you would like to say? Or any questions that you guys want to ask?
Even Grow has a question for us.
When did you stop beating your girlfriend?
Thank you for that.
What do you think of people using digital humans in online counseling? The study showed that people were more willing to open up. Digital humans? What? Is that a thing?
There was a study contested where it was claimed that people who knew they were talking to, it's really dumb, like an algorithm that would say, so if you said, I feel bad today, the algorithm would say back to you, you feel bad today. And then you talk to it through text. And the claim was made that people enjoyed speaking to this thing more than they would enjoy opening up to a human. But it's not proper. It's not proper research.
It doesn't judge you. But that's, you kind of have to deal with that with people, though. It's like a natural part of being around people, no?
I can't see people with authentic mental health issues getting any benefit from.
It's just validating everything that you were saying.
You spiral downwards. I don't see people going up from that. I think that the so-called study, I don't think it was even a study, and it's back in the days when it's quite old. So the computers were still very new. I believe the guy who developed it, he found his secretary was using it. The psychologist who developed this very simple algorithm, he said, my secretary's using it and she really likes it even though she knows it's fake. And that story got repeated and repeated as though it was a study of using artificial counselors and that people really loved it. But I don't think there's a proper study that indicates that. And I'd be bloody surprised if people did.
I feel like this is a Zizekian thing where it's like people prefer
but you do not know. How should I put it?
Where it's like people prefer counseling in a consumerist way, where it's fully just like doesn't actually give you any insight. It's just a masturbatory, like I'm gonna tell this robot everything, but not actually get challenged and
with
counseling.
A human face or whatever you want.
Yeah, right. And that's not to knock it, because I'd probably use that shit too. But I mean, it's like it's the same thing with the movies we were talking about earlier, like superhero movies that give you the narrative that you're the main character because it feels good. You know?
Well, I actually I did post something on Instagram that got a lot of pushback where I was saying to people who are interested in psychotherapy, counseling, mental health, don't get addicted to being heard. Because I saw a lot of people posting about the value of being heard, and I was like, the post I wrote said, if you have a choice between being healed and being heard, choose being healed. Being heard is nice. Sometimes it's very important, even critical, but it's not as important as actually healing. It just feels good to be heard.
I've seen being heard used as a syringe of black tar heroin. People get really messed up when they're either heard or looking for that.
Yeah.
It's and not to say that you shouldn't listen to nobody, but like, it's not the end-all solution to these things.
It's really not. And you know, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. This isn't just me playing, you know, devil's advocate, adopting a super cynical position for the sake of it. What I would say to people is this: if you're interested in the subject, look at how much of the counseling modality that is just sitting and listening to people, or the psychotherapeutic modality that's sitting and listening, and what good it does. It's very little. And when they do meta-analyses across different therapeutic modalities, just being heard is about as useful on self-report questionnaires as getting a massage or the thing with the needles, the reflexology thing, whatever you call that. Acupuncture. People feel about as good. Not to knock massage or acupuncture. It's good to sit with a human being and have a conversation. It's good to get acupuncture, but good is not great on a scale of performance in a therapeutic context. Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. It just seems a little masturbatory, like everything that we're surrounded with now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's always fun. Any more questions, my friends?
I haven't read Huxley's book, The Island. Oh, no, I have. I was going to say I haven't read it, but I actually have read it. Yes, I didn't love it. I didn't love that book. It's very expositional. So Huxley sets up a bunch of characters who talk to each other. Maybe there's like an English guy or an American guy. He arrives at an island, and on this island they have a utopian culture. And the book is him saying, so what do you do here? And the character says, well, when we train children, we blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of it's not a well-written book, but the ideas are good. They're good ideas. It's just a shitty book.
How can we stop polarizing as a culture? Individual critical thought.
Individual critical thinking skills would really, really massively help. The problem with them is they're too hard to learn for the average brainwashed consumer and far too hard to do. I think we have to moderate our expectations in terms of what we can expect people to do.
I thought there was quite a bit of hope before the whole fucking Boogie Monster came out. I saw people that were willing to be more critical with their worldviews and stuff and balance out opposing viewpoints because the internet was able to like kind of like sprinkle other thoughts. But then knowing how emotionally impulsive a lot of people are, it ended up being the complete opposite.
Well, I think so. There's a couple of things there. Maybe I should be responsible and push back on something that you said earlier for your sake, for what you're doing as a provider. You are setting a good example for critical thought because you do, in your own way, just lay ideas out there and weigh them. So even though like I would be preachy and be like, this is what you should do, you just do it, and people are more likely to follow somebody who just does it. And the second thing is, it's not as polarized. The world is not as polarized as it seems in YouTube comments. You're probably doing a lot more good than you think. People not to YouTube comments to spurt out whatever, and they probably didn't even watch your video. They probably read the title, watched about 15 seconds, and went, there you go, deal with that, fuckers.
It's funny because I purposely go out of my way to bring up multiple counterpoints 2 minutes into the video, and they'll literally spout that counterpoint in the comments.
Right.
You know.
So they haven't watched it. So none of us, you, me, none of us should be taking YouTube comments or social media comments as an indicator of what the world is really like and what people are really like. I mean, I don't know how many people are paid opposition or bots or they're just from troll farms. I mean, we know these things exist. And what's the effect on you emotionally of reading this shit? You go, my God, everybody's so polarized and angry and bitter. You give up on humanity. Maybe that was the point of the game, was to get you to give up on humanity. So you'd stop releasing good content that awakens the consciousness of the masses. It's the Archons, man, and they're fucking with you.
So does that mean I should still try?
Yes. But you should also get out the ban hammer very, very quickly and just scroll through. Don't even do it on the laptop. It's faster on your phone. You just set up YouTube Studio, ban, 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 ban. People say to me, you're anti-censorship. Why do you keep banning people? I never said it was anti-censorship. We did a whole video about censoring things like cuties, didn't we? Some things deserve to be censored. Hate speech deserves to be censored.
You know, I'm way more lenient with the anti-censorship thing. Like, I really just let anybody say anything. I don't really care that much. I mean, I do care a lot, actually, but, like, I just don't go out of my way to do it because at one point in my naive brain, I thought people had good, balanced.
Fuck that. Ban the fuckers. Fuck them. Fuck them in the eye. What are they doing? They're spreading hate. They're poisoning your comment section. They've proven that they're cunts by their cunt words. So cunt them off in the cunt. Cunts. Everybody should do that.
And when I first started YouTube, I was like, remember, if you truly believe in something, speak up. And then they started doing that in my comment section.
You're like, no, not like that. Okay, stop. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean spout nonsense and hatred and bile, you vicious bastards.
Dude, I was like standing on my fucking crate podium thinking that I'm all special. My fucking stupid ass silver kimono. If you truly believe in something, speak up and don't apologize for it. Then I look and all the fifth graders are taking out their pencils.
Right. Well, but they're not doing what you said. They don't truly believe in anything. They are psychopathic narcissists or bots, and they are what Brett Weinstein calls bad actors. They're acting in bad faith. Ban them. Ban them. They lose the right to speak on your platform. You do it like this. Burns half a calorie. Click. Goodbye.
Yeah, there's a slippery slope, though, especially if you own like Twitter or like you own YouTube, though.
I don't mind slippery slopes.
I'm just going to let everybody spew their very well-balanced and thought-out, emotionally detached opinions on my comments because I trust people so much with
you
how
mustn't. No. No. People are not to be trusted.
We might differ here. I still got, every time at the watch, I'll be like, everybody, tell me what you really think. And then I'm only going to see the most hopeful, balanced, critical comments.
And then ban the rest of the cunts. You need some of my viciousness in your life. It will make things better. I am structure and order. You are chaos and creativity. Some people need to be headbutted.
Say that again.
Some people need to be headbutted.
Again, we might have different fetishes, my friend. I don't get off on the head button.
I don't mind it so much. I find it quite satisfying. A good strong headbutt in the face. That shut you up, didn't it? Twat. Oh, you're crying now. Where's the tough guy who was here before, threatening me and my girlfriend? Oh, he's lying on the floor. His head doesn't work so well. Funny that. It's like I said to you about violence. People come to me with a hypothesis. And they're saying, I hypothesized that I could beat you in a fight. And I say, that's an interesting hypothesis. Let's be scientists and test it. Oh, look, you're bleeding. Not so clever now, are you, sir?
What I do is say, I'm sure you have the greatest intentions. Please tell me more of what you think, because what you say carries a very intellectual, well thought out, critical weight. And then I expect them through a hug and an embrace and a handshake to fully compromise and to grow as a spiritual being.
If only. Would that it were so simple. Would that it were so simple, my dears.
What a world. So we just ended off on that.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
else you guys got? We all right? We good?
Are you guys good? Did we bring you some humor and some hope through being completely nihilistic?
It's, dude, this channel just takes the darkest turn. Just two dudes talking about
How fucked up it is.
hopelessness.
But it's like releasing a boil, so people can watch it, and all the darkest thoughts, we can say them for them, and then afterwards they'll feel alleviated, be like, well, it can't be as bad as they've said. It's like reverse therapy. People go, I'm depressed, my life sucks, and you be like, be more depressed. Your life really sucks, and then they push back and go, well, it's not that bad.
Yes. Actually, that's a good thing to end off on, because after I watched these terrible, horrific, scary horror games, I actually felt a release after the goddamn demon popped out of the corridor under night vision. I pulled off my headphones and screamed. And after that, I was like, yo, I actually kind of feel a little better. I got a little release out of that. So maybe that's what we need to do. Scare ourselves to optimism.
Yeah, scare ourselves into optimism. That's a thought. That's a thought to leave with. Let's scare ourselves back into optimism.
Thank you for your time and attention, my dear tentacle croissantians.
Are we going to bounce? Shall I give them that?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for your time and for your attention. We truly appreciate you being here with us, and we look forward to speaking to you all again very soon.
Goodbye, my fellow friends. See you later.